Welcome to Quip Corner's Book Corner. I'll have the pleasure of chatting with another author. It promises to be exciting. I guess you'll need to join me to find out. Well, as usual, right after this, you'll see the bio of my guest. I hope you stay tuned and watch it right through to the end. See you in a bit. Welcome to the Quip Corner. Actually, welcome to Quip Corner's Book Corner.
Thank you.
So a couple people are now used to the fact that I have amazing people join me in the Quip Corner, but will be wondering, and who is this? So please tell us.
I am Tangelia Terrell, better known in the mental health world as Dr. WorthIt. I own WorthIt Mental Health Wellness LLC. I train individuals on how to identify signs and symptoms of mental illnesses. I also speak and I advocate for mental illness support.
Wow, you seem to have a full plate.
I do. I do. And I'm also a teacher. I teach fourth grade math.
Woo! How do you manage all that?
Hey, it's doable. One of the things I'm really learning now is time management, making sure that I do something for myself every day, making sure that I schedule time for myself. And that's a big one because a lot of times we don't schedule the time for ourselves. Yeah. But I've really been working on not going over the limit of work because, as I know, as a perfectionist, I'll keep going and going, and then I'll just be completely exhausted the next day. So I'm learning how to stop and to say no.
Yeah, no is a very powerful word, and it's a complete sentence too. Okay. Yes, well, so we have you here to tell us a bit about your book. But just before you do that, why did you even write that book?
Well, I wrote the book first is because my husband kept prompting me and he will always say for 20 years now, he's been saying, you need to write that book. And I don't know what it was. Something just would not allow me to delve into my past hurt and trauma. So when the pandemic hit, I felt like this is the perfect time to delve into writing this book. But the big idea is to help people, especially African American communities, to understand that mental illness is real. It's something that you just can't pray away. There's other things that can be done in as well as prayer to help us to get the help that we need. So I wrote it to help, hopefully, generations to come.
Man. Amen to that. Yeah, you truly touch on something because it's almost like mental illness is stigmatized.
It is. It is definitely stigmatized. So we want to make sure that we learn how to use non-stigmatizing language. A lot of times we say she's just crazy. Crazy is not a mental illness. That's the words of someone who is stigmatizing the mental health of someone else. So we have to be very careful about the words that we use when we're speaking about someone who might be in the midst of crisis.
Wow, thank you. Thank you for writing the book.
Thank you.
So can you please tell us a bit about it?
Sure. This book is called She's Dead. And it's about the little girl that lives inside of me and everything I went through as a child, simply because I did not understand that my mother was dead. I actually thought that she left. And you know, as a 2-year-old, someone tells you she's dead, she's gone, and they keep telling you the same thing. You'll really, if you don't understand what that word means, you'll just think she left.
Yeah.
So it talks about a lot of traumas that I experienced as a child. And it also gives information about the mental illnesses or disorders that were prevalent in my life at that time, even though I was not diagnosed at that time. But now, because I am a mental health advocate and I'm learning so much about mental illnesses, my eyes are just, they just came open. It's like, oh, I did that when I was little, I was going through that. But of course, as an 8, 9-year-old, you don't understand what you're going through.
Uh-huh.
So this book really tells the story of a little girl who is really suffering from several different traumas in her life. But the overall arching trauma of my childhood was the death of my mother.
Wow. My heart sure goes out to you. I mean, I lost my mother as a teenager, and I know what I am still going through. So I
Mm-hmm.
can't even begin to imagine what it was like for you, losing your
Mm-hmm.
mother at age 2.
Mm-hmm.
Oof.
Mm-hmm. It's been a very interesting life,
Yeah.
especially when you don't understand what the word dead means. You say it and you think everybody understands, and everyone doesn't understand, especially children. They don't understand what that word means, and a lot of times they will turn that word into something that they can understand, but
Yeah.
it's not the true understanding of what has actually happened. And that's exactly what I did as a child.
Yeah. And,
Mm.
just listening to that, it just reminds me of when we talk about communication, saying it's a two-way thing. It's not just what you have said, it's what the other person has heard.
Right.
And when there are gaps, people fill
Mm-hmm.
in those blanks
Yes.
with whatever.
Yes. I mean, nothing to add. You said that perfectly, because that's exactly what happens. Even if I do understand, I might take your tone and make it mean something completely different than what you said. So we have to be careful, especially with little ones, to
Yeah.
make sure that they are clear and they understand what certain words mean when we use it with them. Because we're adults, a lot of times we understand what the word means, but kids don't really truly understand what the word dead means. They don't. And I'm a living witness that they don't.
Yeah.
So it was a trying time. I think I was 12 years old when I finally realized that what that meant. And it really sent me, now I understand what was going on, but I was in a state of depression, and I did attempt suicide.
At 12.
Hmm. At
Wow.
12, because I didn't understand. Not only did I not understand, I was also dealing with a father who wasn't understanding of me, a father who was also abusive. So I wasn't getting what I needed to be whole and successful. So I did what I thought would be the best for me, which would be just going to sleep and not waking up.
Wow.
But I'm so happy,
Yeah.
that it didn't work
It
out.
didn't
My
work.
friends,
Amen.
my friends told on me, and I write about that story here in the book, and I was like, goodness, y'all can't keep nothing.
Oh,
But they told
wow.
on me, and I'm glad they did, because
Yes.
I would have done it, you know, and I believe now, I think I was just telling my godfather last week that I believe that God took me through the experience of the traumas experienced as a child in order for me to be able to be more relatable to
Yes.
children who are in inner cities, because that's where my heart lies, is working
Mhm.
in inner city schools where
Okay.
children look like me,
Yeah.
children who are experiencing some of the same experiences that I experienced. And I know that I can help them because I've been there.
Yeah.
So this book really encompasses a lot of that information. I'm hoping that some schools will adopt this book. I'm hoping that some libraries and even some universities will adopt this book. I have heard from several people. In particular, my line sister called me Saturday, and she read the book. She works with she's a psychologist, and she told me what a great book it was. And she said, this is a textbook. This is a book that people who are going to school to be in the mental health field should read. And she just really poured into me, actually, because sometimes I don't think it's that great. But she was like, this is one of the best reads I've read in a long time. So it really, hopefully, is going to help people to be better people. And my aim is to help especially African American mothers and fathers who look at their children and say, ain't nothing wrong with you.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
Okay.
just don't know how to, take what you have and turn it into lemonade. You know how we say a lot of things.
Yes. Like, I just give you more lemons.
And they need more than that. They need therapy. And I'm hoping that this will open the eyes of some parents, especially in terms of making sure that their children get a checkup as well for their mental state, just like they get a checkup for their bodily state every year.
Okay. I'm sure people who are watching would be like, that sounds like a book I need to get either in my hands or in the hands of a family member or a school, And so, people would want to hear a bit from the book. So can you read something to us, please?
Sure. Mama's dead meant I was unable to get to know my aunts, uncles, and cousins. When my mama died, it caused a void within me. I needed to know who she was. I needed to see her in me. I needed her to make me whole, but it was never to be. I often wondered if I spoke like her, if my eyes were like her, if I acted like her. I had so many questions, but no one to answer them. I felt like I could get into trouble if I asked about her. It was as if she was a secret. It was as if she was not to be spoken of. It was as if she never existed. I had no one to talk to about my pain. I had nothing left to do except stick the hurt, pain, and questions in a compartment and try my best to forget about them. I thought the best thing to do was to pretend like they didn't exist. The best thing to do was to pretend that she never existed. If I could tuck these memories into a little compartment, I would be okay. I could forget, and then the pain would be gone. Whenever I thought about her, I would gently tuck the memory right back into that small compartment of the brain meant for that type of hurt. When I had those feelings, it was as if I must not have tucked it far enough away into the recesses of my mind because they kept emerging. So each time I pushed them a little farther back into my mind. If I could just push them far enough back, the thought, the hurt, the pain would never emerge again, or so I thought. And that is a little snippet of She's Dead, which is in chapter 1.
Oof. Sucking away those memories and hoping they just disappear.
And those are the words of a child.
Yes.
Because she doesn't understand that that's not going to work.
Yes.
And my dad would get mad when I would ask him. I don't know why. Maybe he was still hurting, and he didn't know how to, talk to me about it. But he would get angry and he would scream at me, if I asked questions. So I thought, okay, something's wrong with this, Maybe we're not supposed to talk about her because she left. And so even though I was using the word dead, I thought in the dictionary it would say dead, gone.
Yes.
That's what I thought. So even though I'm perfectly using the word dead, but in my mind, it's not what it actually meant.
Yeah. You'd feel really abandoned, really, more than anything else.
And I've continuously suffered with the spirit of abandonment. It is a sheer fear to this day, and I'm in therapy and I'm working through it, thank God. But I still have these thoughts of like, something terrible is going to happen to my children when they leave the house. I'm thinking they'll never come back. When my husband leaves, it's like a feeling, like an anxiety that he'll never come back. But I know where it stems from. It stems from that 2-year-old girl who was abandoned. And I wasn't abandoned, but in my mind, I was abandoned.
Yeah.
And I just imagine how many children are going through the same thing.
Yeah.
Because I've spoken with several children and even parents of children whose mother died or whose father died. And I make sure that they understand that that child needs therapy.
Yeah.
He or she can pretend that she's okay. They're not okay. They need therapy.
Yeah.
Even if it's for, 6 weeks, they need therapy. Because a lot of times, most children, we as a child, you put it into your heart and you just hold it there because it's like a protection, self-protection. It's sort of like fight or flight, and you can do the flight part mentally as well. So we've got to be very careful with children who lose parents, especially as we've gone through this pandemic, and a lot of children are losing parents and grandparents, uncles, aunts, because of COVID-19, but no one probably in a lot of cases have stopped to make sure that that child is okay.
Oof. A couple people listening to this will then wonder, how can I get a copy of your book? Where can people get copies?
Well, it is on Amazon. We are working through some kinks right now because you can put in the name of the book, She's Dead, but it probably won't populate. But you can also Google the name of the book. It'll come up through Google, but it won't come up on Amazon. Who knew? But you can also go to my publisher's website, which is She's Dead, I Said.com. She's Dead, I Said.com, and you can order the book from there. You can also go to my website, which is WorthIt, MHFA.com, and there is a link there to take you straight to Amazon to order the book.
Okay, excellent. We'll put these 3 links below this video so that when people watch it, they know to look below to get that information.
Thank you.
Okay. Oh, no. We need to do something about this mental health so it doesn't become a pandemic in itself.
Well, honestly, it already is. And it's been a pandemic for forever, really, because we continue to see families not acknowledging that something's wrong.
Yeah.
With themselves, especially mothers. We think we're superheroes.
Yep.
And we bottle it up all inside because we're trying to be everything to all people instead of making sure that we're taking care of ourselves first so that we can be whole for our children and for our spouse or whoever. But we've also noticed that in the African American community, we are a people who feel that we don't need it. We often say that's a white folks problem. It's not. Think about the 400 years that we spent in slavery, if for nothing else, because of the things that's going on in our country concerning African Americans in the last few years. If for nothing else, we need therapy for that, especially our Black men.
Yeah.
Especially our Black men. They need it, but a lot of times they feel, I don't need it. You do. You need it. And we love you enough to tell you that you do need therapy.
For sure. Wow. So before I close this up, I want to ask, will you come to the Quip Corner again, please?
Sure. Just tell me when.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you.
So as we bring this to a close, what message do you have for your potential readers, or even just the people watching this? What message do you have? So
one of the great things about my book, after each chapter, I lay out the course of mental illnesses that were demonstrated. You can see the signs and symptoms within that chapter. So I like to leave you with the ADA notes that anxiety disorders are highly treatable, yet only 36.9% of those suffering receive treatment. Only 36.9% who are suffering with an anxiety disorder are treated. People with an anxiety disorder are 3 to 5 times more likely to go to the doctor and 6 times more likely to be hospitalized for psychiatric disorders than those who do not suffer from anxiety disorder. Anxiety disorders develop from a complex set of risk factors, including genetics, brain chemistry, personality, and life events. Some of the symptoms you might be experiencing if you may be diagnosed with an anxiety disorder are sweating, trembling, heart palpitations, muscle tension, restlessness, excessive worry, sleep disturbance, fatigue, trouble concentrating, irritability, and phobias. Now, that doesn't mean that if you just have one of those that you have an anxiety disorder. But if you have several, 3 to 4 of these symptoms, you do need to see someone very, very quickly. And I implore you, if you need help finding someone, please email me at tangelia.terrell at Zoho, that's ZOHO mail.com. That's one of the things that I love to do, is get you to the right person to help you for whatever you're going through.
Thank you for that. We'll also add your email contact below so people know how to reach out to you, if and when they need
Sure.
this support.
And I'm not a therapist. I have to say that as a disclaimer, I'm not a therapist. You need to see someone who's licensed to help you and to diagnose it. Okay. I'm not a therapist.
Yeah, but you're here to help people get help.
That's it. I'm here to help people get help.
Excellent.
Excellently said.
Well, thank you again for joining me in the Quip Corner's Book Corner.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
You're welcome. Oof. That was some heavy stuff. I truly salute and appreciate Tangelia for putting that book together. Oh, by the way, we have to thank her husband too for nudging her. Help is available. Your mental health matters. Physical health is good, spiritual health is excellent, but you can't afford to ignore your mental health. Resources are available. We'll put the contact information and other information below. Please reach out. Remember when Brett and I had the conversation and we said, it's okay not to be okay. It's just not okay to stay that way. Thanks again for joining me in the Quip Corner. I look forward to reading your comments and questions, if any. Until we catch up again, do be good to yourself and to others. Bye now.